Be joined by a co-caster only for this first game here. At least this co-caster will be switching it up. But initially, I'm going to be joined by Near here of Evo Corporation. Near, how's it going, man?
It's going great. Nice to step in here and cast one game here for you.
Yeah, no, I was happy that you were able to do so. It actually kind of worked out. My other co-caster, turns out he was stuck in a TMM match. They weren't remaking and being BM, it sounded like. So, but you aren't playing yet. You're going to be scrimming later on today, so appreciate those stepping in here. So, all right, well, again, this is obviously a solid series coming at us here, Sync versus BMG. We're already pretty well developed into this draft, so let's just get right into it. We got the picks here at least. I had to restart, so I don't have the initial bans right here. Well, looking at it, so it would have been Tremble, Ophelia. Well, what are they? Do you have them?
Yeah, Slap Band Parasite, the Fusion Responder with Tremble, and then Slap Band Ophelia into Midas. And then he first picked the Walsall, which made a Snap Pick response on Lodestone, which I understand, because if you land that Lodestone ulti onto Walsall and the bear, the hero kind of melts, even though it's really tanky. So, good pick there. And then you can see the rest of the picks there throughout.
Yeah.
Behemoth, still one of the top heroes picked here for every team almost. They pick a third pick here. And they will go with the third pick Clanks on BMG's side, which is interesting.
Yeah, that third pick Clanks for BMG. You know, it is a hero that maybe has lost a little bit, whether it's teams kind of just getting a lot more comfortable playing against it or those nerfs kind of kicking in right here. But we've definitely not seen as much Clanks success as of late, but he still is a powerful hero at the same time. But yeah, I mean, that Lodestone, you mentioned it kind of a counterpick to the Wildstorm, but it feels like in general Lodestone is actually a good pickup to make as far as a suicide potential hero for you. I mean, we've been seeing him a lot lately here, so I'm curious to see again how he does for BMG. But as you mentioned, he just happens to be good against the Wildstorm here as well.
Yeah. And Clanks is actually too, because he has a lot of AoE magic damage. So I mean, the Wilds, it's not a good game for Wildstorm. That was what happens when you pick the hero as your first choice.
So they get the Wildstorm. We see Pearl now coming out as the fourth pick, and that's another hero. I think Sync in general has actually been playing her a couple times. They've shown that they liked her. We got the Legionnaire response, and then the Fade final pick coming out right here. So Pearl is a support option. I mean, what do you think about Pearl?
I think it's a solid hero still. It's very defensive, so it's not that the kill potential is really there. So if you're looking to get a head start with winning lanes, I don't think this is the hero you should go for. It has a bit of slow, of course, but I think where the hero shines is kind of in that late game. It's sort of the same way as a Cersei that needs, the levels, and then it will start shining in late game when you get that ultimate art, or you can take illusions of your allies or something. That's where your hero is really good. It's kind of weak in the early game and laning phase, but when you get to late game, the hero really shines.
Yeah.
And his Q ability can also purge something like sheep sticks. It kind of works like an Allfire, so it has lots of good attributes.
It definitely does. It definitely does, and I'm glad that we're getting to see a little bit more of her, because I personally felt, at least, especially with the changes, this is a hero that deserves some attention on the competitive scene. And again, we have been seeing her pop up here and there with Team Sync. I know Complexity's had her a couple times, so yeah, it's been good to see that. Aluna, the final pick for BMG. So just to kind of explain what's going on, as I'm sure you kind of seen in chat as well. So it looks like now. It's funny here, Sync was going to be playing with Zane as their fifth member here initially. It was only supposed to be for this first game, though, until Zibbe got back ready for the second game, and then the third game, of course. But turns out, I guess, Zibbe is just back early, so they are going to remake here, and we'll go ahead and bring Zibbe in to actually get a complete five-man roster here for both sides. So a little interesting there as far as the roster situation goes. Again, seeing them play with Zane here, but gonna be good.
I think initially Slap was asking them to kind of push the match an hour, and then that's a lot of stuff going back and forth. They're talking how they do this, and then he shows up anyways, and then you're kind of like, okay, why did you go through all this trouble anyways?
Yeah,
it's kind of That's why Fusion is saying, "Yo, I don't care. This is annoying." So.
Understandable,
Yeah.
but this the time to win organization here. Obviously, they wanted to try to keep to the schedule as much as possible. They got a lot of sponsors and everything on the line here, so. Understandable from their side, too. Okay, so they are going to be remaking here, so let's get back into this lobby now. Once they're all good to go, we'll be good to go ourselves. So we do see the Wild Soul again though for Sync Esports you mentioned in there that first pick. Despite that low zone snap response, I mean they did get a Legionnaire as well. Is that maybe a little bit of a Wild Soul because he the AOE taunting them both perhaps or?
Yeah, there's a bit of that to it, but it doesn't do that much damage, honestly, from Legionnaire alone. Something like Clanks and Lodestone is just way better. That does a lot of damage to Walsall. Clanks is really strong against him, because Walsall can never catch him. So I think the most important target they can go for is kill the Puppet when they hit that mid-late game, and then they can kill the Walsall after. Because I think if they kill the Puppet, Clanks can't really die, and then they can, kill Puppet and Behe. I think they had a Behe too, so then Clanks can just kite the Walsall forever and kill him solo.
Yeah. So we got the all pick here, of course, for the remake. So gonna get their heroes and move on. Slapped is gonna play the Wild Soul, of course. Not a big surprise to see. They're gonna have him in that jungle. They do have Puppet Master as that other carry as well in the hands of Haxer in here.
I will say that Clanks does not have a lot of HP either, so it looks like it's probably going to be a farming fade. So if he finds him in the jungle, I mean, he will be able to solo kill him. He doesn't need a codex or anything like that. Clanks is really low on HP, so he's pretty easy to kill. So that could be a huge factor if Masera, or who is it Sipper going to play? Huh. Is it offlane BE still? Because Masera's the mid player, so
Yeah.
that's a bit. That's gotta be a little bit disturbing when you're a BMG. What are they actually gonna do? Because I think I would like to see Fake for him, just for the sole reason to slow down Clanks on his own.
Yeah, it's almost like that's giving the impression that they're going to possibly man up with the dual lane. Would they do like a fade Pearl or like a Pearl Puppet Mat? They wouldn't do that. Huh.
I'm actually not sure. Boxy is actually playing a Luna here, so this is a mid lane and Luna. This is the hero's very strong, especially since it got buffed here. So when he hits level 6, he'll be able to 5 seconds stun that target in mid lane. Look for him to max out the Q. That's how I remember he did it at least half a year ago when he played it last time, if it was that long. So I'm curious to see what impact he will have. Maybe he's gonna go for a portal key as well and come in with some huge red stuns to set up Lodestone initiation too, or follow up as for Legion here.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is interesting seeing Boxy on the Aluna. Obviously, not usually more of the support, but occasionally it kind of seems like it fits Boxy pretty well. Puppet Master is another hero that comes to mind that he plays kind of in the middle lane. He likes to get that sack stone, like the tablet earlier on, and Aluna is definitely just another hero that could be good with the combination of items such as that. So. Yeah, we'll see where he ends up, how he ends up. You see Fusen here porting into the top lane right off the bat, and going to get that ward down ASAP. We've been seeing, again, a little bit more of this.
Yeah. I like it this game because I think that they could actually do some kind of man-up-ish with Wild Soul farming here, just to slow down Legionnaire a little bit so he doesn't get the stacks in the fast noble. Even though, of course, it hurts Wild Soul. But I think if Legionnaire gets out of control this game, they will have a hard time. And Puppet should do fine against the solo Lodestone bottom. It's not like people are actually needed down here. So maybe they're actually doing some sort of man-up here.
Yeah, that's again with the lanes, just who's playing what is more so what's kind of throwing it off a little bit. I mean, if Zibby was on Behemoth and Master on Fade, the vice versa there, then probably would expect the Suicide Behemoth and so on. But yeah, that's where the intention is of Sync possibly doing something. So that Ward of Sight definitely giving good information for BMG, and you kind of see them already making some rotations here. You got Aluna. Is she going to end up elsewhere? I mean, Clanks is almost like he was going to go mid, but now he's going to be heading bottom here. It looks like Lodestone is going to transition to that top lane instead. Or maybe they're still deciding. They're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, they see people on the Ward of Sight up here, so they want to see if there's a man up or not. If there's a man up, Lodestone is going to rotate over. Now they see the Pearl too, so yeah, he's going to be up there. And I think they just want the free farm onto Clanks, and then Legionnaire can switch between jungles. He's now bottom with Wild Soul, and that's not what he wants to do. But they're really making a point to shut down the Legionnaire. Slap is going to follow him around and try and slow his farm down.
Yeah.
And I like it because, as I said earlier, it's not a good game for Wild Soul, honestly. It's actually a solo Wild Soul. Okay.
That's right, because it does end up being a tri-lane up here. So he is going to be more so in that lane with the idea of possibly transitioning into the jungle as we pick up. So, yeah, again, expecting definitely interesting here from Sync, but I don't know if we expected this necessarily. Full-on tri-lane.
It seems that whenever teams pick up Fade, they always have like a variety. What's it called? I can't pronounce that. They have a certain amount of players that can play the hero in that second support role. Masera's done it too, and this time Zip is doing that. So it gives that confusion factor that comes into play, and you're not certain what's gonna happen.
The diversity, the chance to play multiple. So middle lane, you see right there, Luna actually taking some good damage from the creep wave, even as Masera's Fissure Block comes out, but so was Masera, and he has to fall back a little bit. He's going to run into Legionnaire here. Oh, no, it goes the other way. Actually, just going to run right into him. He's like, here, take my mana potion. I guess he got a little bit out of it.
I think his Tiltok moved earlier there when Boxy was harassing him and cut him off in the river. Even though he didn't have a taunt or anything, I think he might have been able to just block him and Boxy could get the auto attacks to finish him off. But yeah, that's alright. Still farming at the moment, getting some farm up, and he can gank the Wild Soul whenever he wants to.
Oh, you see Pearl down here now. Interesting. I wonder if this is setting up to be an eventual full-on transition, or are they even just going to say 2-1-2 now, is what we're seeing here from Sync.
Well, they don't need free heroes to shut down Lodestone, and Pearl, as I said earlier, doesn't have the best kill potential, especially not to Lodestone, so what she can do top is pretty limited, and instead she's kind of going to serve as a ward of sight over you for slap, seems like.
Oh, Pearl is going to find Torture right there, start running back. But now here comes Wild Soul with Boo Boo. Only level 3, though, so not really the biggest threat at this point. Asphyxiate comes out, going to slow down, trying to hero block right here with Boo Boo. Is it going to be successful? Behemoth comes in with a fissure, and Fuset is now in a lot of trouble. He is going to be bloodlusted. When it was all said and done, Slapped gets credit for that bloodlust. Legionnaire, in the meantime, look at that escape from Tiltok. That was a beautiful decision on his part. However, nice asphyxia on Boo Boo right there to get close enough to Legionnaire. However, it's not enough, so both sides making some solid plays right there, but Tiltok ultimately getting away. But the Bloodlust kill was still in favor of Sync there, of course.
Yep, nice rotation from them. And unfortunately, Behemoth had a haste, but he actually blocked himself off as well as the two heroes there. So if he could come in there, Legionnaire would have been dead too, for sure. But he was blocked off and couldn't get in there, so they get the one kill, and that's kind of what they need, the best they could hope for down here. It's a nice rotation because Clanks had the wave pushed up in at his tower where it is right now. So he couldn't really come over and help Torture unless he wanted to miss a wave, and he decided not to. So that's a bit unfortunate. It's when you man up and your wave is at your tower, it gets hard for supports to be on the left side of the jungle because the carry player or whoever farms down here can't really come and help.
Yeah.
And they collapse of that.
Aluna's after having a great start, 371 gold per minute right here. Again, very early on, only 2 minutes into the game, but 371 GPM with no hero kills. That's, again, pretty impressive stuff. 19 and 6 creep farm. And I would have to think that's pretty close, if not perfect here. So,
yeah. It's been a while since we've seen it in a solo role, but it's definitely still has the potential to do so. I just don't think people really realize it yet, how good it actually is. But then maybe Boxy can give us a showing here of what you can do with Farm on Luna.
Oh, top lane Lodestone. Just a lot of pressure here. He's going to be fine, though. Obviously not an easy target to kill. But yeah, I think a lot of that just simply goes back to the mentality of she's a very strong support at the same time. And so, you know, if you're going to pick her up, might as well run in more of that support role. But you're right. I mean, she even has, like, when she first appeared on the scene a long time ago, she actually was ran as a carry, and then she kind of transitioned into a support.
Hillflower Frostal Skull.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Tralf actually was a player that played it way in the early days, beginning. So, again, Boxy gonna show us here. Like I said, he likes to go that Sackstone, the tablet here. I would expect to see that. Although it would be fun to kind of see more of that Hellflower maybe threat here. But again, being Boxy, probably more of the utility.
I think he's gonna go for his tablet first, and then he might go for a damage item after, like a Hillflower. I think that might be correct. That's what I would assume at least. Okay. Tablet is always nice, and just to line stuns if you're not gonna go for a blink. Get a tablet, and you might be able to get a good spread stuns out.
You see Wild Soul, he's definitely picking up some good farm now as well. I mean, he did get that Bloodlust to help, but now that he has that swipe, I mean, you see the threat just, it goes up tenfold, it feels like. His damage output becomes actually pretty ridiculous here, so obviously Clanks and Torture even needing to now be a little concerned of that here. as that is the case. Boo Boo also, while it's or Zlapped here, he does get boots on Boo Boo. I know, again, this hero in general, just a lot of different builds, and that's one of the other things too. I noticed that from Wild player to players that whether or not they get boots on Boo Boo early in the game or if they wait till way later on, but Zlapped likes to get it, right off the bat here. Have that chase presence.
Yeah, that's where it's most powerful as well, especially when you see Fusen not having boots either. So if he catches him, that's a pretty dead torture.
Again, though, Boxy still leading the way with that GPM chart against Messera here. Only 200 gold per minute on Behemoth, but like we were talking about earlier, pretty understandable that he is struggling here.
For sure. I would say Lowstone's actually level 5 up here, and they haven't really been able to get the lane control with Puppet Master here. But of course, he has the Whiplash level 1, makes it a little bit harder, but it hasn't been easy for them. Now they're transitioning Clanks up here, so they might actually try and make it collapse.
They're going to try to make a play. Yeah, Legionnaire even coming over, but you can tell the Legion side is aware that something's up. They start falling back, and Puppet Master, should be fine if he doesn't go out here.
Yeah. I think Sync should, in response, put Puppet Master bottom and start having Wild Soul in the jungle, maybe. It's really hard to contest this up here, the heroes they have.
Oh. Nice fissure block to prevent a kill from happening out of Faye, but now Behemoth might be in a little bit of trouble. Charge coming out, however, the shockwave happens to stall that, if anything, and not allow him to die, but now Fade also going to get caught, and she will go down. So it is 5 players collapsing for BMG, but they end up getting something out of it as they're able to take out the Fade right there.
I don't think Messera expected Zipper to hit that stun onto Legionnaire, because I think he was using that shockwave to defend himself from Legionnaire taunt, but instead, he kind of wasted it instead. But that's, you have to make a decision in that 1 second that it's not sure that you can get the communication off in time.
Yeah.
But he survives, that's the most important thing. Only level 3 Fate goes down.
And buys time for Zlap now to push in the tower bottom freely. Again, 5 players being there. Zlap pretty confident that, well, he's by himself now, and he definitely takes advantage of it. All of a sudden, he shoots up to 400 gold per minute. So that's kind of one of the last things you want to do if you're BMG is just stop paying attention to this Wild Soul, because we know how fast you can all of a sudden flash farm and have insane GPM already bumping up quite a bit. And again, we'll see what Zlapped decides to go here with his item build, but he can definitely enhance his damage more. What do you think he's going to go, actually? I'm kind of blanking on what he likes to go first. Does he like to go Frostwolf? I don't know if he goes Frostwolf.
What does he actually buy? I know he doesn't like something like Thunderclaw. You don't really need it. He usually goes something like Face Boots onto the bear first, and then try to make something happen through that. Yeah, but also just the heavy items. Like, I know he likes Mark, but he's not gonna go for that in this game, I think. If he has a farm for it, he'll go for it, but in this game he doesn't really. Maybe just as something like a Jam in the Spain, the wing bow, try to work towards the big items. That's usually what you do in Wild Zone because you farm so fast. So that's what I would assume. What item he's gonna go for first, I'm actually banking a bit on that. I'm not sure what he really prefers this game.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of just build up in general right now, even the Mystic Vestments. You mentioned possibly upgrading the boots on Boo Boo even, so likes to get a lot of that early game presence here. Again, he's going to box out Lodestone and just freely farms his bottom lane. Now, Lodestone is level 6. We were talking about at the beginning there with that snap pick counter. The Shatterstorm, especially if he comes on it both. We see the red stun attempt right there, but it comes up short. So Boxy trying to get that 5-second stun, and if that hit, I mean, that's a dead Wild Soul 100%. Meanwhile, top lane, though, big fight coming out here. Clanks is going to get picked off. Pearl, but that Whirl Bubble comes through. The Power Throw's not enough damage. And in the end, she is going to survive. Pending a red Power Throw, not happening from Aluna, so well played there.
She doesn't have the red snipe either, or they're really diving up here. 5 heroes from Sync.
Yeah, Wild Soul joining the party, and that's dangerous. Torture is going to be picked off. Aluna trying to dodge her with that Deja Vu, but it's not going to happen either. In comes a Shockwave. She goes down. Legionnaire now joins the party, but they're going in one by one right here is Bad Monkey Gaming, and it is showing big time. Legionnaire goes down. Lodestone now in trouble once again. This one-by-one tactic is not the smartest. They did kill Behemoth, but now actually Lodestone is going to end up falling to Wilds, almost likely. Yes, he will go down. And now Clanks is trapped completely by the creep wave. The ulti for Wild Soul, you're not killing that. Hat trick for Zlapped. It is all falling apart here for BMG at this top lane all of a sudden.
Yeah, the 1-for-1. Yeah, that's what happens when you TP in one by one. And, like, you ask for the support, and then a couple people TP in, and the rest determine that no, leave that, and then they decide to go in anyways, and yeah, didn't work out for them. And that's as expected.
Kylie's lap now, 540 gold per minute now. He just bought something. It's going to be delivered here in a second. Didn't catch what it was, but we're going to get an idea now of what he's going for. Okay, he does like to go the helm. Interesting. On the wild, so he has Pearl. Oop, she's a little too far up right there. She gets picked off by Legionnaire.
I think she wanted to put an offensive void there in the vicinity. Didn't get it off, and then Legionnaire caught her. So good pick for him. And it's really been working out for them to try and void out the Hellborn jungle. Legionnaire rotates bottom, and then Wildsword boxes him a bit. I mean, he hasn't really found the space to get a snowbally start. That's unfortunate for them. So they've done a good job of kind of shutting him down. Even though they haven't really been that much on him, they've done enough to slow him down. Because that could really hurt them if he got free farm jungle and had like 400 GPM at this point.
Aluna did a good job of setting up that middle kill right there on Behemoth. A 5-second red stun came out. Obviously, he's very confident with that and successfully gets the kill with lodestone assistance there.
Well, that's huge for them as well, because Behemoth is probably their first initiator in this game, so slowing him down is good. I don't think you'll see Sync push too much in tier 2 towers, or too many of them, without the Behemoth initiation, or Blink at least.
Definitely wanted that to fall back on. Meanwhile, up here, finally, I think Sync may start falling back. They've kind of just taken over the Hellborn jungle, but you see Bad Monkey Gaming is trying to reclaim it now, and they are doing that to an extent. Teltuk here on Legionnaire has been kind of quiet as far as how he's been looking here. He did go the Striders. Now, he does not go Bottle, which is what you would usually see, I feel like, with this build, and then into that Portal Key. He might just go straight Portal Key even instead, as Fade is going to get picked off. She's still level 5, in fact, so obviously the level's not really the most powerful for her, but nice pick off for the Hellborn team. But yeah.
I think they have to be careful in mid lane. If the Hellborn team rotates over, Luna can set up a huge stun here if they're not careful. Lodestone is moving over, and he has Shadowstorm in 3 seconds. I don't know if he has enough mana for both. No, he does not.
They're so close to Portal Keys, too, on heroes like Lodestone and Legionnaire even coming out here, so maybe they just simply want to wait for that here instead at this point.
Usually when you see like that 5-for-0 exchange almost, or what it was, 4-for-1 or something, like the game is almost over, but in this case it really isn't. It's pretty impressive how much farm that they actually managed to get on the Hellborn side still. That's only a 3.6k gold swing. Like, the experience is completely even.
Yeah. I think a lot of that comes to Fade and Pearl, really just not getting a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, overall, it is a little surprising that they are managing to keep this at least somewhat in check here. I mean, again, the experience, as you pointed out, being even for that matter. So in bottom lane, actually, Lodestone made a great escape right there. It definitely could have been a very likely kill on him, but he manages to get away to keep that Portal Key route in check. Deny the middle tower? No. Nice attempt there from Aluna, but Deja Vu just coming up short there.
Yeah, she also used the red this year. She got invest after pressing E again, so a little thing there, making sure that she's not able to be killed even if Behemoth caught her on the second time when it's done.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you see the item build of her, again, the Grave Locket at least, and looks like that tablet is coming out, but as you're talking about, maybe the Hellflower to follow. Would like to see here, especially, seeing that Clanks is, again, he's kind of struggling here. They could use a bit of that secondary damage dealer here. Perhaps from Aluna, but speaking of her, she's going to get caught here by Fade initially. Fade is level 6 now, but it's not going to be enough. It was just her and Behemoth, really, so that makes sense. Preservation comes out. Fade, he's not running, though. He insisted on trying to keep fighting there. Maybe that was the taunt kicking in, to be fair.
It was the taunt.
Okay, that makes sense.
The Pearl ulti still forces out the decapitate from Legionnaire as well. I mean, else Fade would have been dead, so it's actually pretty strong here when you can time those ultimates like that.
Yeah.
It forces the opponents to either go to a bad position or to use more spells.
Yeah, that Pearl ultimate definitely has a lot of potential this game to be really big against the Clanks especially. Obviously, that's what he likes to do, sit on the outskirts while the team is all in there, and he just does a lot of AoE spread damage from a range. Preservation does ideally prevent that, so that's where that solid pick comes into play. Man, this Wild Soul. Let's take a look at him once again. And, oh, he has now a Firebrand. Booby is still just on the red boots, but still, he has a Firebrand, 1,000 gold saved up, 550 gold per minute, so... Yep.
I like the wording from Serenia so far. It's unfortunate that this word he put right just up here got spotted by Fusion's word, which is in his own jungle, but it really spots everything that comes up here in this area of the jungle. Oh, bottom lane. Didn't catch that.
No, I didn't either, but, well, portal keys. That's pretty much the simple guess there coming into play. Both Lodestone and Legionnaire leading the way. Of course, Legionnaire has the easy way to get in there. Taunt, sets up a Lodestone stun, and the eventual kill. Yep, actually not the tankiest. Did go that Assassin Shroud first. A lot of fighting going on, so it makes sense. I feel like at the same time, though, he actually usually likes to get that Whispering Helm. I know we've mentioned that lately.
He does.
But going
I
straight
think since they have the Wild Soul and the wanna push towers, he acted well for the Helm of the Black Legion, now has a Firebrand, so maybe Frostburn into German Spain, Frostful Skull, as action happens.
Wow, yeah, big catch up here. Behemoth did get the kill on a Clanks. He ends up going down, but now Wild Soul in chase catches Torture. That will end the 2-for-1 exchange. A very quick amount of action right there, but they caught Clanks, and that's definitely a target they want to continue to keep in check here, as they are. Clanks right now only 280 gold per minute. He's trying to finish that Thunderclaw, but you know, being at 280 GPM at 16 minutes into a game, not at all where you want to be here for BMG.
And I was kind of commenting on the voids before, and you could say that Action should have a void down here, but usually what happens in this high level of play is whenever you try to gank the short lane, you use a smoke anyways. So it's almost like every single lane ward you place there is almost like negated. They don't really work that well, honestly. They work in like 50% of the time. And with Resia Legionnaire smoke down here again, and I mean, a ward doesn't spot that, so that's why more and more people are starting to give up on that classic ward down here, especially in competitive games.
Yeah, interesting. Knowing that the Veiled Rod is, of course, a powerful tool. BMG, obviously, as well, is a team that really is known for using the Veiled Rod plenty, and no different here. So, but Legionnaire not going to get anything of it in the end. They're trying to just bait out Torture, but of course, the Legion team not going to fall for that, as they are nowhere nearby. Fade, he's level 7 now, so again, getting the levels up. He's 1,200 gold saved up. May just try to get his own portal key here. Moving along, but Wild Soul continues to be that big focus. He now has a Mighty Blade. You mentioned possibly the Frostburn, or actually, he wouldn't be able to get the Frostburn now, so maybe even the Shrunken, actually. Okay, yeah. It is going to be the Shrunken here instead for Wild Soul, and yeah, it'll do plenty this game, especially against that Clanks if he starts to get a little more farmed up. Ideally,
I think the only reason he's getting is because of Clanks, honestly. And I guess he doesn't want to get stunned, but they don't really have that magic damage. It's only Clanks. So if that can help him live and maybe live for like 5 seconds longer in a fight, or maybe not even die at all, that's a good item for him.
All right, there's the Thunderclaw and Clanks. It's going over to the Ancients right here. Going to try to stack them even and maximize his farm, of course, but he has a long way to go before he's actually going to be a big threat here, as you would expect on a Clanks. Puppet Master in the meantime, that Whispering Helm is finished. He actually takes over a Skeleton King right here, and he's going to send that to the Ancients to get the stacking going. So, yeah, again, as expected early, Boxy does eventually finish the Sackstone even to go with that tablet. So now that he's got his liking core here, now that next item going to determine a bid. Meanwhile, Legionnaire, he got picked off.
Yep. Fate found him, and the Behemoth comes in with the Shockwave for the last hit here. Quick killing out.
Always a good plan. They accomplished that right there. So, yeah, Legionnaire's presence, unfortunately, hasn't been able to be that big right here. I mean, getting the portal key is good, but he really hasn't been able to make the most of it other than, I think, one kill he had at the bottom, which was a big one on the Puppet Master, but being dead right here, they're not going to push, though. They really see us coming back up, and obviously it is still pretty scary with that and Lodestone. Good combination here, so not going to risk it. I guess you could say Sync isn't necessarily in a huge rush right here to push in towers.
No. They're farming the Hillborn jungle, they're farming their own with Puppet, and they're basically farming all lanes and pushing them in. I mean, it's definitely in their favor, so yeah, they're content farming as it is. Wild Soul has a Shrunken Head now. They have the core items. Fade almost has a blink as well. So it's hard for him. He's gonna actually pick up farm in the bottom lane.
Oh, nice job finding Puppet Master once again. And the upfront damage, the Decapitate was early, but it does eventually get the kill. That's what matters. Fate in the meantime, though, coming in. He hits the Burning Shadows on Legionnaire. Now here comes that supporting Casperl, the Asphyxiate, slowing him down. Is it going to be enough? Wild Soul and Chase, but no. Nice tablet right there. Teltic trusting his teammate. And eventually gets away in the end, so good getaway in his part. And again, taking out Puppet Master. So, yeah, I mean, you really look at the overall Golden experience. It does feel like that Sync actually should be a lot further ahead because of how dominant they've been. You mentioned farming the Hellborn jungle. I mean, really pushing in the lanes here. I mean, they don't even have a tower kill on BMG's side. And to still be within 6,000 gold is pretty surprising, actually.
Yep, and especially when the other team has Wild Soul, because that hero just farms so fast. I don't think there's a hero that farms faster than this one, so it might be the fastest one, and it really kind of inflates the charge because that hero just picks up items and gold so fast, and levels as well.
Yeah.
So even though it says 2k ahead and 6k gold, they're actually in an okay spot on BMG's side, even though they're being pressured back in their own jungle like this. Clanks can't even farm his medium camp up here. Like, because they're so scared, but they're not in that bad a spot, but they feel like they're in a bad spot,
yeah,
that's for sure.
You see Clanks right here is going to make his way over to this camp, and this could be the dangerous one. Now, he does have a Ward of Sight, but as we're talking about, the Veiled Rot on Behemoth there, but he is going to be fine. He pulls it back, and eventually is able to take it out. So, yeah, how about this, too? I mean, you would expect in a game like this that maybe he would try to get that shrunken head ASAP right after the Thunderclaw, but no, he's still going a little bit more damage, wants to keep that farm going here, going the Firebrand. It's a risk, but you could argue probably a risk that's necessary here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is.
Well,
If you wanna just count on your positioning being enough to keep you alive, and then you need to do all the damage you can in the shortest amount of time. Wait, what? Oh, he's actually going Mighty Blade now. Okay, so I think he should have went the Firebrand. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And then he could go for Shrunken.
Just as we're complimenting that and saying it's a good risk, well, he kind of changes his mind. I mean, he did get the Quick Blade, so I mean, there is still a damage enhancement, but...
Yeah, there's plus a bit more attack speed and damage, I guess. On top lane, they find Wild Soul. But is this really what they want, though?
I don't think it is, and now Legionnaire, actually... He's on the run right here as he tried to pull him back far enough, but a Wild Soul pops the shotgun. This is a hero that can 1 versus 5, especially this early. Lowstone Shadowstorm coming in. Behemoth coming in with the assist on 12 of the Shadowstorm, but they will kill Wild Soul. And now Behemoth goes down, so it works out so far for the Hellborn team. But here comes that supporting cast finally. They are going to be able to clean up onto a Luna. However, the rest do escape, so overall a 2 for 2, but that's definitely in favor of Bad Monkey Gaming, of course. Picking off that Wild Soul, really important. Also get him to use the Shrunken Head on top of that.
I do think Legionnaire will be picked off here as well, though.
Or will he? I don't know if he will, actually. Well, yeah, he's probably going to be found here. Oh,
yeah, okay.
There we go.
Here we go.
All right, so they do make it a 3 for 2, but still, killing Wild Soul, that's, again, still pretty big. For the Hellborn side, at least.
It is, and this is, like, I commented that on the draft. It's not a good game for Wild Soul, and that's because of that Lodestone right there in the Clanks. He had Shrunken Head up, but the Lodestone ulti hit him, and then he just melted anyways. So, that was pretty good. If they were if they were faster to follow up on Legionnaire there, that could have been a huge swing in their favor, actually.
Yeah.
But Behemoth came in to save the day with the Shockwave onto 2 people. So kind of even trade, but it's still really good that they can kill Wild Soul pretty easy in this team, because he has a lot of GPM and gives a lot of experience. So he will be a lot of gold every time they kill him. So even though they only get those even in exchanges, it's honestly in their favor because he gives that much gold and experience.
Wild Soul is really interesting. He actually has a lot of... You know, Zephyr, for some reason, is kind of a hero that comes to mind, especially with the pre-nerf Zephyr that we had here with this last patch, where he's kind of just a really bulky, tanky hero that... He snowball farms like crazy, though. He has that insane flash farm, and I feel like we see a lot of these high GPM Wild Souls, but their impact, it's not like if a Dark Lady had the same farm, you'd probably be a lot more scared right now if you're the Hellborn team. But it's really weird, but Wild Soul does kind of taper off, even with farm like this. It's from what we've witnessed, at least.
Yeah, it just comes down to his skill set, and then, I mean, he takes extra damage from his bear that doesn't really do a lot in the late game. I mean, it makes sense, so he doesn't have that damage enhancing plus 120% extra base damage with silences and attack speed from his abilities like a Dark Lady. I mean, that's huge abilities. Imagine if he had that too. So it's just about the hero skill set. He does have the W that gives him a bit of move speed and attack speed, sure, but it's not that much when you get to late game, plus 50 attack speed.
Yeah. See Wild Soul right here. He's going to be able to... Oh, no, Boxy actually gets in there to deny it, but now he's in trouble. Fade, he had a chance right there. He does eventually open, but now Boxy's pretty far back, so yeah, I feel like if he got him right away, they maybe could have tried something there, but in the end, they're going to retreat. Fade actually did get that Porta QBC user right there to also get away from Legionnaire, as that was a close call for him, but ends up being no kills on either side, so the Legion team will instead try to keep controlling as much as they can, but I mean, the gold lead has even gone down slightly. It's now 5,500 gold. The experience sure gone up a little bit, but really nothing to be overwhelmed by. 4,300 experience lead here for the Legion side, 25 minutes in. It goes back to, though, again, Wild Soul. He's sure he is still scary to have this farm, but he's not the most overwhelming. You got Clanks, that Shrunken Head finish, and now Firebrand, I believe. Oh, no, that's not being Firebrand. Just the Homecoming Stone, but anyways, Firebrand is going to be coming, and so on here. So he is enhancing where he can. And, yeah, BMG overall is doing a pretty good job of just not dying over and over again. I think is a big feat here, too, to this Legion team. Still no tower kills. No, they did get the top tower. That's right. But still, only one tower kill. 26 minutes in now. That's a kind of a good and bad, right? Like the good way to look at it is that they have a lot of farm to still make up. Aluna, by the way, middle lane. Oh, she tablets at the right second. They were going.
I think that Boo Boo kind of gave it away from Slap there. So if he waited with that, I think the Behemoth could have just shockwaved there for sure. But honestly, at this point, all they need is one fight, and they'll get some towers and a huge gold and experience swing in their favor. So they just need that one fight. Whereas if Legion side get that one fight, I think they still have the comeback potential on Hellpoint team. But they just need that one good fight, and they will be just fine.
Luna here, 2,500 gold. Yeah, we'll see what she, again, does go for here. But she most certainly, I mean, hell, she is doing the most hero damage so far right now. Clanks! He got caught, though. And actually, Legionnaire, he's going to drop the portal key, try to make a play with it. Unfortunately, it comes up short, though. And he, too, goes down. So a couple of pickoffs here once again by the Legion side. And that's exactly what you can't and don't want here for BMG. And now this is going to be a middle tower kill on top of that. So that's the strength of Sync at the same time as they're going to pick you off.
That fade. Yep. That's why it gets hard for the Hellpoint side, that they can't farm as freely as they want to because of the fade factor. He's 11 now with Stridus too, so it's even harder. And they just got picked off on two of the most important heroes.
There's a chance here, though. I mean, they were very clumped up right there. I know that not everyone's up by any means, but man, Lodestone, he's hungry. He wants to get a good chance right here. He's going to throw out the rocket drill. He is going to stun through, kind of, but it's just not going to be nearly enough. The melee racks will fall, and that all goes back to obviously picking off Clanks there to start it off.
Yep.
So,
just as I say, they need one good fight, they lose the racks. But yeah, it still kind of counts. But this is harder for them now, for sure. They can't, another death or misplay, that will probably lose them the game. So they have to be very careful.
You got Puppet Master as well to definitely remember. So much focus on this Wild Soul, but they do have Puppet, who's 450 gold per minute. The Shrunken Head now finished, and yeah, the Holy Trinity of items on him. So across the board looking good. A level 11 Fade. He also just got a tablet. Another positive there. And Pearl. Okay, I was going to say, he's going to probably buy a portal key, and sure enough does right there. He had over 2,200 gold saved up. Goes to the side shop and buys that PK. So that'll allow her to now position a lot more strongly in these fights. And we'll be able to jump in and pop that preservation if something does kind of break out here.
Yep.
Which will be
Pretty
huge.
Strong item. Same reason you get it in Night Rhapsody. That's good for them. Makes it even harder for BMG now.
3,600 gold on Luna, man. What are we seeing here for Boxy?
Yep.
I mean, he has an open inventory slot, but I guess
he wants buybacks, I think. So it's the same as Clanks. They can use their buybacks pretty liberally at this point. They just need to win fights. Doesn't matter if they have 2 or 1 at this point. So he's not going to buy an item. yet. He could buy the Arcana, I would say, though, unless he wants an entire sheep stick, but I don't think that's the right option at this point. I think he needs a little bit of damage too. The hill thrower might be the better way to go.
Yeah, definitely would enhance his damage a bit more, but yeah, still not buying anything just yet, and so we'll keep an eye on that. But speaking of buying, Clanks did finish a Firebrand finally. So at least has that. And he right-clicks a Shrunken on Boxy.
Oh, okay.
Right here. It's hard to be against that, I guess, but
Yeah.
wasn't
I
really
guess he can
expecting it.
just go in there and then just not worry about almost anything other than Wild Soul and pop it auto attacks. So, yeah. It's very defensive. I mean, if they lose a fight anyways, it doesn't matter if he survives, because then they probably lose the racks.
Yeah. The Emerald Lightning, it's as strong of a stun it is, it does provide that attack speed steal as well, and
It does.
you know, so that enhances his damage and allows him to maybe get something like a Shrunken and still be pretty powerful with the DPS at least.
It's actually a lot of attack speed again.
Yeah. Teltuk getting picked off middle lane, by the way. Again, the fade factor continuing to happen here.
Yep. I mean, he steals 23 attack speed, so if he hits 8 targets with it, 8 times 23, that's a lot of attack speed. Just to put into perspective, like a Thunder Clock is 40, so
Yeah, that's
that's
almost
4 Thunder
200
Claws of
attack speed. Yeah, that's
Yep.
pretty ridiculous, actually.
just to put that out there. I mean, it's a lot. I can feel it when I play support Luna. I land a huge stun. I can almost solo a hero if I end a 5 second on top of a creepway.
Like, Wild Soul's attacking at 251 attack speed right there. That was pretty damn fast, as we saw there in Congress. So, yeah, he would essentially be, what is he right now? 182. Wow, he would be really, really freaking fast. You're right.
Yep.
He gets a full Emerald Lightning off at least. So, yeah, that's, again, so that potential is definitely there, and they still have that Wombo combo, win a team fight potential, but things have now taken a turn for a little bit more of the worse. You do got the token now in a Wild Soul. What do you think about that, by the way? Was that the correct choice? Should they maybe give it to Puppet Master, figure Wild Soul should ideally live in these fights, or?
I guess the plan is to siege the base with Wild Soul, so he hits the base, and then they have to go on him, which they don't want to. They want to go on Puppet Master now, for sure, and kill the BE as well. Oh, they actually catch Fade here?
Oh, Fane now gets caught actually in turn, but is going to be fine. He was dusted there. But they run
Email was
instead.
behind him in this, so it actually might be the best that they did not commit that with Torture and Legionnaire running in and clumping up for Behemoth ulti.
Yeah. 600 gold per minute. Wild Soul obviously is just keeping it up and slightly going up and up. He did eventually get Steam Boots on Boo Boo, so he goes that route instead, but a little more attack.
They're
speed.
getting further and further ahead. Golden experience. It comes down to those 2 pickups into racks here. That's really being a huge factor, and of course Fade hitting 11. It's really hard to deal with. I mean, look at the Hellborn positioning right here. They're all 5 in their base at this moment, so they're just waiting for Sync to push, and I don't think Sync is gonna push at the moment because they know they're getting ahead.
Yeah.
Now it's 15k gold. I mean, it goes really fast.
And yeah, with the racks being down the middle, especially, I think that's the biggest reason to that. They have that one lane constantly applying pressure and knowing that that itself is already nerfing Bad Monkey Gaming as far as their farm, of course. So yeah, definitely the smart decision here by Sync, you could say, to play this very passive right now. And again, this is a best out of 3 here, guys, here in this playoff stage. So this being the first game right here, but. Just a reminder there, I know we have a lot of these 2-game series for the group stages of Haunter and everything, but this one being a best of 3 as it says on your screen there. So the Hellborn team, though, they are, again, just picking up a little bit of farm here and there. They got the 1,600 on a Luna, 2,200 on Clanks right here. I think the Hellflower, at least the second Arcana was just finished on Hackstrom, so maybe not the full Hellflower yet, but, well, maybe, actually. Something is being delivered to him. Might have just gotten both right there. I didn't notice it was gold before, but that could be like the really big key of making a push here now. But Boo Boo, in the meantime, they're just pushing the top lane with Wild Soul, of course, but is eventually going to be forced back. But yeah, Puppet isn't here with them just yet. Okay, it's just a second Arcana, but he is coming up here now. So they have the token for another 2 minutes. They do probably want to at least use this here.
Yeah. I think they could wait and just wait longer and get Hellflower and Puppet and stuff like that, but I think using the token is the right choice. Might be worse to wait for it because then they might lose that fight at Kong, and that's not a risk they want to take, I think. Just push this as safe as possible here. Wild Soul also has Geometer space to siege base with even, so This is very hard for BMG to deal with. I'm not sure how they're gonna do this, because they need to kill Puppet. He's actually stepping up now. But they also kinda need to get B before he uses a huge shockwave onto multiple people.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Lodestone here. Maki's just setting up here. He's waiting for the right time, but obviously Sync is doing a really good job of playing very split here. Here we go, though. Legionnaire taunted on a wild, so Lodestone with that Shadow Star fall up in the background. He does catch Behemoth, actually. Preservation goes down. Clanks has to go in there if he wants to do damage. Meanwhile, Puppet Master, he's surviving. You see Clanks, he went up, and now he has to fall back, so that's what forced him. Meanwhile, the Shockwave on top of the Puppet ulti, and down goes Clanks. Aluna, she is going to make her escape with that Shrunken Head. A nice rocket drill stunned by Lodestone, and they do clean up on a Behemoth. Wildsel, though, he's still alive, and he still has that token for the matter as his Puppet Master, so it is going to be a successful push for Sync in the end. And I think BMG may have to call it here shortly. They're going to give it one more shot. They do TP in here. Aluna coming back. They are going to kill Puppet Master, it looks like, so that's a good start. Wildsel kite him with Clanks. Successfully doing so. Wildsel's like, you know what? I'll just kill your Rax then. I don't need to kill heroes. I'll just get objectives, damn it. And yeah, you're not going to deal with this, man. He is just too strong here.
I think Clanks can deal with him here at this point.
Well, he does at least die, but obviously coming back up. And yeah, Clanks does have to keep his distance the second he gets caught. I mean, Boo Boo is dead, so that is a big role here. And they are going to run, actually. Are him and Fade. So they do get out of there in the end. The token comes through. And again, they got the melee racks, which is what they came here for in the first place. And now a full Behemoths are purchased on Wildsel in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, I would say that we saw the power of Pearl there and why she's so strong. I'm pretty sure Haxon would have been dead there if it had not been for the preservation. Because Clanks had to walk up to her instead of auto-attacking him. And then at the time he took him to walk up there, Puppet Master managed to get Shrunken Head off. And of course Clanks can't do damage then, and then Clanks just died right after that. So yeah, also a huge ulti from Serenia. And they win that fight. I mean, I think they could have maybe had the Rax if they had killed the Puppet right there, but the Pearl interrupted that.
Yeah. No, Preservation was absolutely a huge tool in this game, and yeah, the Pearl pick really comes through as a standout pick, most certainly. You think of a lot of other supports in that same case, and may not have been the same situation. So, yeah, see there on the replay, again coming through, and then yeah, the setting up that it just so happened that Puppet Master put out the Voodoo Puppet on a Clanks, and then Shockwave comes in on top. You just saw him get wrecked. Lodestone, he goes down. Vote to concede comes out. BMG realizing enough is enough. GG, well played. Game 1 will go to Sync Esports here in this best out of 3. So, again, impressive by BMG to kind of hang in there as long as they did and really keep it somewhat close early on. But eventually Sync got a couple of pickoffs that they're looking for. They got the pickoff on a Clanks. They pushed middle with that, the middle racks. And that's where it really started to turn in favor.